Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
We have a gold helmet player coming in at number 42 on our roster countdown. Rookie, Brayden Willis. Now, I don't know how to be... Let me just be honest. I'm a Longhorn. Brayden Willis graduated Oklahoma University, OU. Can't stand that university. But for some reason, I could not be more enamored with this kid, this player, Brayden Willis. He's incredible. He's awesome. And, you know, I've been to every training camp practice, and the dude just shines. He shines. Whether it's blocking drills, team drills, 7-on-7, it doesn't matter. He's that damn good. I could not be a bigger fan of his. So he comes in number 42 on our list. I want him higher. I really, really do, because I had him ranked well above Cameron Latu just in my tight end rankings, you know, coming out of the draft. Niners obviously like Latu enough to take him 4 rounds earlier. But so far through camp and a lot of things, and we'll get to why both of those players were drafted where they were, and it makes sense. But shout out to Josh, 49ers Guru, did a heck of a job on today's show. Wears jersey number 9. Looks clean, looks fresh on the backside, which I like. It's a new thing for the NFL. 6'4", 240. 33-inch arms. He's 23 years old. Didn't do the 40-yard dash or 10-yard dash, but he's not a speedster. Whatever it was going to be, it wasn't going to be good. Let's just be honest. 7.3, 3-cone. He is not your athletic traits player. That's just not who he is. He's much closer to a fullback's athletic potential. You know, if we're just looking at, how do we say this? If we're just looking at tight ends, here are some of his comps. Cole Hikatini, you remember him? 95% measurable, but again, no speed is included in this. Cameron Latu, 91%. Latu's much more athletic. And Trey McBride, who I really like, 89%. So it gets difficult to kind of look at these different players that he kind of fits. He just doesn't really fit. There's not a lot of players in the NFL that match Brayden Willis, and that's why he didn't go till late in the 7th. However, you start diving into who this kid is and what he has accomplished, man, it's hard not to like. Again, gold helmet status. These are the demarcation that the 49ers give players that fit exactly what they want to do on and off the field, the community, leadership, all that stuff. He fits it. He doesn't have the elite traits. Everything else, freaking awesome. He played at Martin High School in Arlington, which they were in the division I used to coach against all the time. Great program. They've had a lot of elite talent go through there. Incredible program. So he goes to OU, majors in economics, which is awesome, was a 3-star recruit, and just did a bunch. I mean, you look at what he chose: Oklahoma over Arizona, Houston, Wake Forest, and many other schools, but you could just, like, Wake Forest in there. Like, this dude's academics, they're awesome. You know, he garnered second team all Big 12 honors. You know, he received in 2022 the coveted Don Key Award, which is presented to the one player with excellence on and off the field. He was there for 5 years, which is a little interesting with the new COVID exemption rules, all that stuff. Was a part of 2 college football playoff squads. You know, won the 2020 Cotton Bowl, 2021 Alamo Bowl, 2022 Cheez-It Bowl. Did a lot. 3 Big 12 championships. Man, that breaks my heart to say that. He just was a part of a lot of different things. Now, he earned the nickname Weight Room Willie in college for his work ethic, strength in the weight room, and that's just kind of, you see it. I mean, he's, again, another one of those guys. This is the new thing where they tuck up their jersey under their shoulder pads, one, because it's cooler, but they want to show out the midsection, man. And you see them, and it's just like, okay, this dude spent time in the weight room. That's just what it is. But it wasn't just the weight room. He's got a personality and a half. This dude was the leader, the driving force of that Oklahoma team for the past 2 years, because when Lincoln Riley left and stole a lot of the top-tier athletes, Brayden Willis was one of the guys that stepped up in that locker room. And you cannot find, I know some of his high school coaches, I know some of his college coaches that have worked with him, and every single one I talk to him says, you'll never find anybody say anything negative about him because he's just that good of a person. Now, while he was at the University of Oklahoma, he hosted a podcast. So you can go check that out with a fellow teammate, tight end Jeremiah Hall. They named their show The Podcast on the Prairie, which is out there. You can go listen to it, and you kind of get a good sense of his personality. They just talk Sooner sports and kind of go off and talk all kinds of different things, but it's mostly around sports, but it's a great show. The 49ers take him in the 7th round, pick 30. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's almost undrafted. Nobody wanted him. But whenever they drafted him, here's the quote from Lynch. Quote, "We had him ranked really high. So when he was still around, it made a lot of sense. Skipping a little part of he goes on some word salad. He's got a lot of versatility to his game. Check. He's a guy who kind of embodies what we like in terms of, after the ball is in his hands, he's tough. He's a contested catch guy." This is me talking now. He doesn't get separation on routes. That's the difference between him and Latu. Latu gets separation on routes every time. This is a guy that's a fullback, tight end, kind of jet sweep tight end guy that you just put the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. They ran screens to him consistently. Back to John Lynch's quote. Quote, "He could do some special things, play some tight end, play some fullback, nice tool to move around, made a lot of big plays for Oklahoma, former quarterback, real smart, cerebral kid. You could put a lot on him. So when he was still there, it just made sense for us," end quote. And, the Niners, they've done this several times where they double dip on positions in the draft. They took Cameron Latu in the end of the 3rd round, that comp pick, and then they take him in the 7th round. It reminds me a lot of Elijah Mitchell being picked after Trey Sermon, or Diamador Lenore being picked after Ambry Thomas. And again, Trey Sermon picked with one of those comp picks. Ambry Thomas picked with one of those comp picks. You look at Cameron Latu, picked with one of those comp picks. And that's not an indictment on Latu, but the Niners had a position that they needed to improve in, tight end. It was one of my top positions for them. And they went out and got 2 guys. They went after one guy, Cameron Latu, for what he could become, and they went after one guy, Brayden Willis, for what he is and what he already does. And whenever he was drafted, he said, this is from Brayden Willis, quote, "31 teams are going to pay," end quote. And I love it. I mean, touchdown machine. Listen to these stats. 75 career receptions, just under 1,000 yards, 998 yards, 13.3 yards per catch, 13 touchdowns. Missed 6 games in 5 years in college. Incredible. He played 809 snaps last year. Listen to these PFF grades. 71.7 overall grade, 63.7 pass, 62.2 run, 80.3 run blocking. This is a Shanahan guy. 81.2 pass blocking. And it shows, he's a voracious blocker, but, man, he posterizes people. He is violent. So this culture or attitude that the Niners offense have with guys like Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Debo, Jordan Mason, these Trent Williams, Spencer Burford, these just hard-ass bully mentalities. Yeah, Brayden Willis is that. And again, you see him in training camp. He flashed more than any tight end not named George Kittle, and it's not close. It's not close. It's George Kittle. If I'm making the depth chart for week 1, and not even long term, I don't even care. Week 1, it's Kittle, Brayden Willis, probably Charlie Warner, Troy Fumagalli, Dwelly, large gap, and then Cameron Latu, who I think has had the worst camp of any player, not even tight end, not offense, of the 49ers. I don't think that he has played well. So I don't know. It's going to be curious because I do not think that the 49ers are going to cut a 3rd-round rookie in Cameron Latu. I don't even think that's on the possibility. So do you keep 2 rookies? Do you cut both Warner, Fumagalli, and Dwelly and see who comes back and activate them early over these young pups? The tight end positions, I think, in my opinion, the most difficult position to transition from college to the NFL, and especially in Shanahan's scheme. So there's an uphill thing there, but again, I keep going. I've seen it with my own eyes. You watch all of this tape, and I write up all these reports. I think we did 300-plus draft profiles this year. But then I go to camp, and I see the kid belongs. Number 9's making circus catches on the sidelines. Doesn't drop passes, doesn't miss blocks, and just is so consistent already. Now, the question would be, has he already kind of tapped out? Is he already at his kind of potential? Because the limited athletic profile would say not a lot of room to increase. He's a lower ceiling type player. That's why he went late in the 7th. But I'm telling you right now, I don't give a damn about any of that. This kid, Brayden Willis, he's not going anywhere. He's a hell of a player, even though he went to OU. He's my tight end too, until somebody proves me otherwise. Do I think that he'll be the tight end 2 for week 1? Probably not. But if I was making that depth chart off of what I've seen, this kid is for real. He's 42 on our list. I want him higher. If there was, we had 5 executive producers rank all 91 players who would have the biggest impact this year in 2023 only. I think 42 is too low. I think probably 36, 35 is where he should be. But, again, top 53, you're going to make the roster, right? This dude, I just do not see how, with the way he has played, that he does not make the initial 53-man roster. It makes no sense to me. I've seen weirder things in the past, but Brayden Willis is the real deal, and he's going to be a fan favorite as soon as everybody sees him in that 9 jersey and just see him go ball out, do the dirty work, and just be so consistently positive play in and play out. So Brayden Willis, do your thing, man. You got a fan right here, even though Hookem, I got to hit that. But for us, we'll just keep counting him down.